Here at Fulton Speedway on a beautiful Tuesday night for practice tonight, Empire Super Sprints. Well, this is John Tiff. He just beginning his second year as president of that organization, and they are part of the High Bank Holdup, the headlining division, this Friday coming up. John, how we been? I haven't seen you since motorsports.
Yeah, no, doing good.
Excited? Because, I mean, let's be honest. You and I have talked about this off camera and I think on camera a couple times. I think this is one of the more underrated sprint car tracks around. Do you agree?
Yeah, we always know what the track's going to be like, and it always provides good racing. You know, so it's usually smooth, slick. Always puts on a good show.
Great way to start the season, right?
Yes.
Okay. As we look to this particular Friday, like there's one guy I keep forgetting is actually going to follow the tour this year, Zach Sabaka. Any other surprises we might see this Friday on the High Banks?
I wouldn't call them surprises, but you get the locals like Jordan Hutton, Chris Heil, Larry White. Those guys will be here. So,
how much is Chris going to run? Or do we know?
Probably all the local stuff, the Brewer, Fulton, Weed Sports, stuff like that.
Yeah, the geographic schedule, maybe up to Can-Am, maybe Canandaigua.
They're not racing against Burton.
Gotcha.
Like our Speed Week deal and stuff.
Okay. How good do we feel about the group of drivers and the racetracks we're going to visit this year?
I feel really good. We got a great group of drivers. We all look out for each other. They're a great bunch of guys. Like anybody, sometimes you have your issues, but it's just human nature. But it's a great group of people. It was a family atmosphere when I started, and I feel like it's still like that. So.
Of course, obviously, whenever sprint cars come to Fulton, one name, like if this was Las Vegas odds, I would think Jason Barney would be atop the list. Who are some of the other ones that we think about?
Danny Varon's always good here. Davey Franek is another one that's always good here. Larry, obviously. So, those are the top 4 or 5 that I can think of right off the top of my head.
Any other wild cards, perhaps, that we could see? Because even as I'm looking down at Zach Sabaka, for example, I mean, he knows this place well. There's going to be some surprises when we look at that top 10, right?
Guys that are running in the top 5 are like, wow, they're having a great run. You always have that.
Are you like me? Because I say a lot of times, I mean, we've worked in this a long time. We can't really have favorites. But when you see somebody who doesn't have a top 10 and they're running 4th, you get a little excited like I do.
Yeah, you want them to run well, keep them interested, and have their efforts pay off.
Yeah.
Because this is a very unforgiving sport. So sometimes it's nice to see somebody that struggles to have a great run.
And let's be honest, sprint cars are a little bit different. I had a family friend come over and he was like, "What's the deal with these sprint cars?" And I was like, well, for bang for the buck, for speed, for danger, unfortunately, they really are their own unique animal in racing, aren't they?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of banging wheels in sprint cars.
No, you can't. You're flying.
It's a self-cleaning sport. If you're going to bang wheels with somebody, you're going to take yourself out too. So, usually you save that for the pits.
And with a lot of these modified guys that move up, I'm not saying anything about modifieds, but they like that when they get to sprints because the racing has to be cleaner just because it's open wheel.
Yeah, no, they enjoy it, and a lot of times, you look at half our field are modified guys that didn't go back because they really enjoy it. Just from the speed, the thrill, and the maintenance part is way better than a modified.
Used to be somewhat unique when that happened. Now I think that's where most of them come from, rather than the traditional, maybe a micro sprint to a 305 to a 360. Is about 50-50?
I'd have to say about now it is. When we first started, a lot of it was modified.
Chuck Ebing, right?
Yeah, a lot of them were modified.
Steve
guys
Poirier
moved up, but now, it's a lot of guys that were homegrown in sprint cars, some kind of sprint car open wheel on their way up, like Jordan Poirier. I don't think he's ever been in a modified. He started with the lightning sprints up in Canada and worked his way up.
Yeah, and Steve Poirier started stadium trucks or something like that.
And he was in a modified
up in Canada.
And,
358 up in Canada.
And big blocks too. So
what's after Fulton?
Then we go to Brewerton, Fulton, Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, no, we got a big break there, huh?
Because tracks are opening up, and plus a high limit, and outlaws are coming through, and we can't schedule against that.
Makes sense.
It wouldn't be good for sprint car racing in New York to schedule against them, and our guys like to run that deal too. So
there'll be half a dozen to maybe even a dozen that are going to try that.
A third of our field, the third of the field that did a Chrome last year were our guys.
Really?
So
it's good to see.
No, and it is good to see. You want to see your guys go there and run well. So.
Sprint car racing is healthy, isn't it?
Yes.
Good to see you, John, as always. You have fun tonight, okay? And good. Friday night, make sure to get here. Like we said, Empire Super Sprints headlining, and then, of course, Modifieds on Saturday. Have fun today, John.
Well, thank you.